Welcome back, students. This is part 2 of our video tutorial on quite a few tools. I think I'm going to call it layers, construction line, text tool, snap, circles, arcs, offset, tangent line, quadrant, dynamic input, plus a few others. So we're learning it all in this video, I guess. And as we learn it all, we're trying to draw this conveyor link shape. Oops, this conveyor link shape that is right here on our sheet of paper. So this is the example. You've got access to it through Google Classroom, so you might want to have this one open so you can reference it as we go. Hopefully you've already been referencing it because we did a part 1 of this video where we set up some layers and drew construction lines. Right, so I hit on file management in that first one. If you haven't hit the save button in a while, let's go ahead and save to get started. And then we're going to switch from your construction line layer to our object layer. So we're going to start drawing some blue lines in this video here. So jumping back here again, we're going to draw these two small circles first. They've got a diameter of 0.56. Then we're going to draw two larger circles that are going to turn into arcs eventually. They've got a radius of 0.81. Right, so I'm going to go to the circle tool. Right, just a regular circle tool. You can just click on that button and it's asking me to pick an endpoint. So again, we've got snaps turned on, so I can just snap to an endpoint and then drag this out. Now it's asking me to specify a radius, but I've got a diameter for that small circle. So I'm going to hit the letter D. Whoops, down here, not my dynamic input. I'm going to come down here and type in D. And then it's asking me what diameter, right? And that's 0.56 inches. Right, so I'll hit enter. Right, now if I hit the space bar, it's going to bring my circle tool back up. I can just click on that endpoint. Here's another little trick that'll speed you along. If you hit the enter key, it'll enter in the dimension you specified for the last object. So it just made this circle the same size as this circle. All right, we're going to practice that one more time. We're going to go to the circle tool again, pick this endpoint. This time we're going to draw a circle with a radius of 0.81. I'm going to hit enter. I'm going to hit the space bar, come down to this endpoint, and hit enter to draw another circle to the same size. Okay, now we're going to grab the line tool and we're going to snap to this top quadrant. All right, so that's another snapping tool. And I'm going to come over here and snap to my top quadrant. Now this wants to keep drawing lines, so I'm going to hit escape. I hit spacebar to reactivate that line tool. And I'm going to come from the bottom quadrant over to the other bottom quadrant. All right, so I've got actually a little more detail here than I need, so I'm going to go to the trim tool. We used this in a previous video, and we're going to trim away part of this circle to make this look like an arc on the end. And now notice I'm not trimming the yellow construction lines away because later on we're just going to go turn those all off, and we do need them for right now. So going back to our example drawing, we're going to work on this slot next. Right? This dimension here tells us this slot is 1/2 inch wide. And I know this line here, because it's a center line, is in the center of the slot. Right? So I'm going to have to offset my center line 1/4 inch in either direction to get the two edges. Right? We haven't offset anything yet, so here's offset. And so we're going to click on offset. Down at the bottom here, it says specify offset distance, and it gives us some other options. All right, we're going to offset this a distance of 0.25, so I'm going to hit enter. I'm going to pick the geometry I want to offset. I'm going to offset this line 1/4 inch this way. I'll click it again, and I want to come 1/4 inch the opposite direction. Okay, now if you're observant, you can see these lines here are yellow, not blue. So I need to come to my selection tool first, take the crosshair. I'm going to pick those two lines I just created. Then I'm going to come to my layer drop down and I'm going to move from construction to object. And if I hit escape to deselect them, you'll see that they're blue now. So by moving from one layer to another, we're able to change the type of line that we're drawing. We'll do more with that in some future videos. Okay, I'm going to go back to my circle tool. And I'm going to pick the intersection point where that center line hits that angled line. And I'm going to drag this over to draw another circle. I'll zoom in so you can see what I did there. So I'm hitting spacebar to get my circle tool activated again, picking the center point. snap into that edge point, and I've got my 2 arcs for the end of that slot drawn. I'll zoom out a little bit here. Yeah. So again, I'm using the trim tool to get rid of the blue object lines I don't need. I'm leaving the construction lines there. And this would be a good opportunity for us to hit save so we don't lose our drawing. And now we're going to draw this curve here, this arc here on the outside edge. This has got a radius of 0.75 and the same center point as our other circles. All right, so I'm using the circle tool in this video. Eventually, we'll talk about some other ways we could make this geometry. But I think mastering the circle tool is a good one to get down first. And so I'm going to go 0.75, hit enter. All right, and now we're going to use an arc tool to draw those sweeping curves on the 2 sides of this. All right, there's lots of different arc options, so I'm going to hit this drop down underneath, and I want to do a start, center, end arc. Okay, so for my first one, this is going to be my start point, that intersection. This is going to be my center point, the end of that first construction line we drew. All right, and right here where all these lines intersect is my end point. And so now I've got that arc drawn. Yeah, we're going to do that a second time, so hit the space bar. This time we're going to pick this intersection as our start. Right? Same end point, or same end point of the line for our end point. And I want this to come over to here. Now, for some reason, it's not cooperating with me. All right, so let's escape here. I wonder if we did something wrong. Yeah, I've got to start, center, end. So we're going to go start, center, end. Oh, and there it seemed to work fine for me. All right. So you'll have to let me know if you got to draw that one twice or if there was something I did you caught while you were watching the video. Okay, and so again, I got a lot of extra geometry here. I'm going to grab the trim tool. When I take the trim tool, I can start and I can drag down and to the right. I can select multiple things at the same time. All right. So some people like doing that. They like drawing that line through stuff to trim it away. Oops, I didn't want to get rid of that construction line, but that's fine. I think we're done with that. Oh, now I'm getting carried away. I want that arc. I want to get rid of that straight line. All right. So we've almost, I'm going to say the word almost a few more times, but we're almost done. We got to put in 2 of these inside corners or filleted corners next. All right, this one's got a radius of 1.25 inches. This inside curved filleted corner has a radius of 0.75 inches. And we're going to use a different circle tool to draw that. So I'm going to come to the drop down under circle, and I'm going to do a tan. So that means 2 tangent points and a radius. All right, so tangent just means the circle is touching another piece of geometry in one point. So I want a tangent to this line, tangent to this curve. Then I'm going to come down here and enter in my radius. This one was 1.25. All right, there's my circle. We're going to use the trim tool in just a minute to clean this up. And let's use that tan radius again. So I'm going to hit the space bar. And it doesn't seem to want to select that one. All right, so I'm going to go tangent here, and this one's radius is 0.75. There's my second circle. And now we'll go back to the trim tool. I want to get rid of this outer part of the circle, this inner part of my line. And same thing here. We're going to get rid of this outer part, inner part. And there is our shape. So one more time, let's go ahead and hit the save button. Now you can breathe a sigh of relief. You're done with the drawing portion here. We're going to go to the layers and just open this drop down, and I'm going to turn the construction lines off now by clicking on that light bulb. So you can see I can toggle it on and off by clicking on it. And then we're going to go into the text layer, and we're going to add 2 bits of text here. First thing we're going to do is use this dimension tool, and I'd like you to dimension this last circle that we drew. So we're going to click on it. Right, we'll drag our dimension to the outside of the object, and we'll click again to place it. All right. And then we're going to add some text to this. And I'm going to have you put your name here. So I click the text. I got to define the two corners of that text box. And I'll take and type my name. You should type your own name in here. And if I click elsewhere on the drawing, it'll shut that text box down. And I've got my name on it. All right, so the last thing I'd like you to do to submit this is we're going to go to the snipping tool. All right, you can see I was practicing with that snipping tool already. We're going to go new. Right, and we're going to draw a box that encompasses your whole drawing. So I want you to snip this. You're going to copy it, and we're going to paste it into a Google Doc that you can submit to me. All right, so let's go open up a new Google Doc. We'll blank document. And let's paste that in. All right, and why don't you call it by your name? And then we're going to call it basic drafting. Right, and this document here that we just made, I would like you to submit in the Google Classroom under the classwork tab. All right, now you can officially breathe a sigh of relief because you're all done with the conveyor link. I will post another assignment up here where you draw the cover plate and the gasket from page 117 of the textbook that I've shared. So the two shapes that were down low on this guide we were using. All right, so good job on making it here. Keep up the good work.